Hello, today we're going to look at planetary conditions. By this I mean obviously planets like ourselves, they have signs or houses that they work very well in. They have friends, so you know what it's like. So when you go to a friend's house, you feel good. If you're at home, you feel good. They also have, most planets have also got what's called a mortar cone, which is like the happiest condition I feel that a planet could have. Although exaltation signs are actually considered to be extremely good in most of the scriptures. So yeah, there's all different types of dignity or conditions a planet can have, which actually can help us in the process of having or exploring the indications of the planet, the character significations of the planet, and the sign or the house. So obviously this means that planets are either happy in the condition that they're in. They are neutral, so it's neither happy or unhappy. And obviously the worst scenario will be if they are unhappy. And so we can actually just go through these conditions. So the best condition for any planet will be if it's exaltation. So this means that they are in the sign that makes them work to an absolute top-notch way. That will be for Sun. Sun is exalted in Aries. Moon will be Taurus. And then Mercury is exalted in Virgo. Then we have Mars exalted in Capricorn. Saturn is exalted in Libra. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. I think I did already say Saturn in Libra. And Venus is exalted in Pisces. Now the nodes also, there are scriptures that saying that Rahu is exalted in Taurus and Ketu in Scorpio. And so I'm going to keep it like that as well. So when a planet is exalted in mortar cone sign, in own sign, in a great friend or a friend house, then this planet actually performs extremely well. When it's in a condition which is called neutral, which I will come to, as we said, it's neither here or nor there, so it's neither happy or unhappy. And if it's unhappy, it means that it's in enemy sign, great enemy sign, or it's debilitated or fallen. So let's have a look and see what happens. And obviously any planet, these conditions are taken into account to see the quality of planetary yogas and placements that they bring with them as well. At the degree that the Sun is at exalted condition at 10 degrees of Aries, it's fallen at Libra at 10 degrees, and between 0 to 20 degrees of Leo, it's in its mortar cone sign. Mortar cone is almost like saying it's in its head office, if you like. So its own house or own sign will be where it lives, but this will be like the luxury home, you know, with all the mod cons and all the luxuries. So Moon is 3 degrees of Taurus exalted at that degree, 3 degrees of Scorpio is debilitated, 3 to 27 degrees of Taurus is Moon's mortar cone. Mars is exalted at 28 degrees of Capricorn. At 28 degrees of Cancer is debilitated, and between 0 to 12 degrees of Aries, it is in its own mortar cone sign. Mercury is exalted at 15 degrees of Virgo. debilitated at 15 degrees of Pisces, and between 15 and 20 degrees of Virgo, it's actually it's in its mortal Trachona sign. Jupiter exalted at 5 degrees of Cancer, debilitated at 5 degrees of Capricorn, and 0 to 10 degrees of Sagittarius. It is actually its mortal Trachona sign. Venus is exalted at 27 degrees of Pisces, debilitated at 27 degrees of Virgo, and 0 to 15 degrees of Libra. It is Venus's mortal Trachona sign. Saturn is exalted at Libra 20 degrees. Aries 20 degrees is debilitation sign for it, and it's 0 to 20 degrees of Aquarius. It is its mortal Trachona sign. So this is these are very important. You find that most of the softwares are actually use the whole sign as exalted or the whole sign as debilitated, but it's truly just that degree that we've just talked about as well. Okay, so now let's explore planets and their conditions, if you like. So we know now that planets have got certain degrees that they are happy, they're also either exalted, debilitated, or they have mortal cone signs as well. And basically, this is how the planetary or the dignity of the planets is. So Sun it's very important to know that planets have got friends, they got enemies, and they're neutral with some other planets. And just because one planet is friendly with one planet doesn't mean that that planet reciprocates that friendship. So it's very important to have that in mind, and that will actually determine their how they will be in regards to placements in the chart. So Sun is friends with Moon, Mars, and Jupiter, enemy to Venus, and neutral to Mercury. Moon, on the other hand, is friendly with Sun and Mercury, but it's neutral with Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. So as you can see, Moon is not enemy to any planet. Mars is friends with Sun, Moon, and Jupiter, enemy with Mercury, and neutral with Venus and Saturn. Mercury is friends with Sun and Venus, enemy with the Moon, and neutral with Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Jupiter is friendly with Sun, Moon, Mars, enemies with Mercury and Venus, and neutral with Saturn. Venus is friends with Mercury and Saturn, enemies of Moon and Sun, and neutral with Mars, Jupiter. Saturn is friends with Mercury and Venus, enemy to Sun, Moon, and Mars, and Jupiter it's neutral with. And then we also have what is called a temporary relationship. This occurs normally. It's based on the house placements are between planets in each individual's birth chart. A combination of natural and temporal friendships between two planets determines their ultimate relationship in any given chart, if you like. So this is called as a compound relationship and gives rise to such conditions such as great friendships or great enemy. So, for example, if say natural relationship between two planets is friends, and temporary friendships with that friend will make a great friend. Compound relationship becomes a great friend. If they're neutral normally together, but they're in a friendly temporary relationship together, then become friend. And then the third thing is like if they are friends with each other, but they are in temporary enemy situation with each other, they become neutral. Or if they're neutral and then become temporary enemies to each other, then become an enemy. If they're enemy normally and enemy in temporary relationship, then they become great enemies. So you always got to see this to just actually understand the true value and relationship of planets on each individual horoscopes. So as a rule of thumb as well, Rahu is exalted in Taurus, Ketu in Scorpio, debilitated in the opposite sign. So Rahu is debilitated in Scorpio, Ketu in Taurus. And then Gemini will be mortar cone for Rahu, Sagittarius for Ketu. Own sign for Rahu will be Aquarius, and for Ketu will be Scorpio. Although some people say Virgo, own sign for Rahu, and Pisces for Ketu as well. The natural relationship of Rahu and Ketu to other planets is as such. So Rahu is friends with Venus and Saturn, enemy with Sun, Moon, Mars, and neutral with Mercury and Jupiter. Ketu is friendly with Mars and Venus, enemies to Sun, Moon, Saturn, and neutral with Mercury and Jupiter. It's really, dignity of planets, their condition is absolutely important. So the other thing that we also want to realize as well, a planet's ability to give its results for good or for bad really depends on the planetary strength, dignity, and obviously if it's exalted, it's in mortar cone, own sign, or in a happy friends situation, it will be strong and it will give good results. A planet that is debilitated in enemy sign or is unhappy or weak, it just cannot deliver. So it will be difficult. So let's touch on directional strength. Is when a planet gets a lot of focus and can deliver quite well, even if it's in not particularly good house. That will be for Mars and Sun will be in the 10th house. Jupiter and Mercury will be in the 1st house. Moon and Venus in the 4th house, and Saturn in the 7th house. This is called Dikbala, D-I-K, Bala, B-A-L-A, or directional strength. So we always look at that as well in any given chart too. So it's a very important factor of astrology. And then we have vargottamam. It's another condition that can make a planet strong. So this is when in the other divisional charts or vargas, we have all different types of vargas. If a planet is in the same sign as it is in the D1, then it becomes vargottamam. So for example, if Jupiter is in, say, Scorpio in the D1 chart, natal chart, and it goes in Scorpio again in Navamsha D9 or D7 Saptamsha, then that condition is called vargottamam, which is normally very good. It's not always good if it's in a difficult situation. It just means that that's carried across, but normally makes the planet strong for better. And then just try and think what other things can make a difference to because vargottamam can be really, really good and give fantastic results. We'll look at some combinations as well in this, because it's just very, very important. The other thing that makes planets really strong as well, if there's an exchange which is called Parivartana Yoga. So that's when two planets actually exchange their signs. So we will look at that as well. This can happen in sign, and sometimes it happens in nakshatras as well. But we're just going to touch on signs for now. So let's have a look now at some of these conditions. So let's see what we can look at. We look at the Queen Elizabeth II's chart. She is Capricorn ascendant, and she has the most amazing chart actually, because she has Saturn on the she has got an exalted Mars on the ascendant at 28 degrees of Capricorn in her 1st house. So that is literally the degree that Mars will be exalted in. And if for a Capricorn, it rules an angle, really nice angle, 4th house and 11th house. So it means 4th house will be her country, her people. So look at that, she's the ruler of that. Mars is in the 1st house, a massive Raja Yoga for her as well. Fantastic. And it's an exchange with the Saturn. So Saturn has gone into the 11th house of gains and fortune, Scorpio, and Mars gone 11th house ruler is gone into the 1st house. So that's a massive Dana Yoga of wealth. Dana Yogas occur when there is a connection between 1st, 5th and 9th, which are the trinal houses, and 11th and 2nd houses, which are houses of wealth in a chart. So 11th house and 1st house ruler have got this exchange going on. So 11th house ruler is in the 1st and 1st house ruler in the 11th. Fantastic Raja Yoga. And also you could say the 4th house ruler, Mars, is in the 1st house, as we said, a Raja Yoga as well. And so this is fantastic. She's also got her Yoga Karaka planet for Capricorn is Venus. Venus is very good planet for them. It rules their 5th house, Taurus, and also 10th house, Libra. It's in the 2nd house. So just on its own, Venus can create a lot of goodies for Capricorn ascendant anyway. And that actually going into the 2nd house is a wealth giving, because it connects what is like a trinal house, 5th house ruler Taurus in the 2nd house. That's really good. Dana Yoga as well. So she's got a lot of good things in terms of wealth going on there. She's also got the ruler of the 3rd and 12th house, which is not, Jupiter is not a good planet for Capricorn ascendant, is sitting in the 1st house, but it gets directional strength there, so it's not completely weak, and it's gone past the 5 degrees at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So and actually, by the sheer fact that it has got directional strength, it's a strong planet for her, and it's sitting with a very strong Mars, so that also helps it too. It kind of gives it Nisha Bhanga as well, so it cancels some of that debilitation. So you can see that it's not as weak as you think at all. But there is something going on here, because Jupiter and Mars in terms of degree, if there are planets, the 5 planets, so there will be Mercury and Venus, Saturn, Jupiter and Mercury, if they are actually sitting a degree or less from each other, that actually causes planetary war. So it's not really good for the house, and it can cause difficulties. And so you always look and see which one is the stronger one, and that planet wins the war. And obviously Mars exalted, not just exalted, but at the exact degree. So Mars is fair to say that wins that that issue there. Let's have a look at Diane Keaton's now. So Diane Keaton has got an exchange going between 1st house ruler Venus and 3rd house ruler, which is house of the arts. Jupiter has gone into the 1st house, so that makes them both work as though they're sitting in their own house. It makes them both strong as well. And then she's also got Moon, has got directional strength. Moon is sitting in Capricorn there in the 4th house, so Moon has got directional strength there. This Mars is in her 10th house, is debilitated, but it's definitely not debilitated as we think, because it's got directional strength, and it's also retrograde, and it's also retrograde, and it's got Dikbala as well. It's got directional strength, so by no means is that weak. In fact, in some scriptures I have heard that I've seen that it's a planet when retrograde and debilitated acts as though it is actually exalted, but nonetheless it's got directional strength. So we've got like 3 of her planets have got directional strength. There's an exchange there as well, which is really fantastic. And in her difficult house, a house like 3rd house needs to have like malefics to actually make you brave to deal with the issues of that house. So she has got K2 and the Sun in Sagittarius, helping their bravery so she can self-express really well. So that's really good as well. And let's have a look at Catherine Zeta-Jones here. Catherine Zeta-Jones is Gemini ascendant. First house ruler has gone, Mercury has gone into the 4th house and it's retrograde. But look at that, 17 degrees, and it's actually exalted at 15. So after 15 degrees, it becomes more tricone. So it's like Mercury sitting in his hotel or head office, you can say. So it's doing really, really well there. And oh, she's got Venus in the 3rd house. I was looking for somebody and I couldn't see her. So yeah, it's really good. So Venus in the 3rd house is ability for the arts, which is fantastic. And let's have a look at her chart further, actually. Let's actually see the condition of planets here. Excuse me, I'm just going to take a sip of my drink. Okay, so she has Mercury in Tricone. Sun is neutral with Mercury and is sitting with it. When they sit together, even if they're friends, they kind of don't work very well together. It's always better if the planet is on its own in a sign. So that naturally makes the Sun an enemy because it's not in a great condition there. And also it has got no direction, that Sun, because it's in the 4th house and it gets in the opposite house, 10th house, it gets directional strength. So it's quite a weak sun really. And then we have the Moon. Moon is sitting in Aquarius. It's ruled by Saturn. So we see in terms of condition how it's obviously it's kind of, it hasn't got any enemies, if you like, the Moon. So Moon is not enemy to anyone. So but it's sitting 3 houses away. So by the sheer fact that it's neither friendly or unfriendly with her, so it would normally be, say, neutral, but by the sheer fact that Saturn is just 3 houses away from it, then it actually makes it friendly to this chart. Mars is normally a friendly sign, friendly with Jupiter, and Jupiter is only 4 houses away, so therefore it makes it a great friend for this sign. Now, if they were sitting together, that Mars will be neutral. Then we have Jupiter. Jupiter is not friendly at all with Mercury, and is sitting with Mercury, so it makes a great enemy. And then Venus is not friendly with the Sun, and the Sun is just 2 houses away. So by the sheer fact that they're sitting close to each other, temporarily they become just neutral towards each other. So the results they give, they're neither good or bad. Saturn is obviously debilitated and retrograde, so in Aries. And then we have Rahu is sitting in Aquarius. Rahu rules Aquarius, so that's a good placement for Rahu. And K2 is sitting in Leo. K2 is not friendly with the Sun. So, and it's 2 houses away, so they normally will be in an enemy sign, but because Sun becomes temporary, sort of quite close to it, you know, less than 5 houses away, 4 houses away, so it actually makes it neutral with it. So that's that one. Let's have a look at Ginger Rogers now. Ginger Rogers has this is a Taurus ascendant. Taurus, so Venus has gone into the 4th house. So her Venus, even though it is in an enemy sign, it's still strong though, because it's in the 4th house. So it's got Dikbala, which is really fantastic, directional strength. But the actual conditions, because it's actually enemy with the Sun, but it's sitting just 2 houses away from the Sun, so it makes it, and this you can count it backwards or forwards, temporary friendships, so it will be neutral to the Sun. Then we have Sun and the Moon. So Sun is great friends with Moon and is actually sitting, Moon is 8 houses away or 6 houses away, whichever way you want to count it. So in the light that they're not actually that close, sitting that close with each other, they become neutral. Moon, on the other hand, is sitting in Saturn's sign, it's not really, Moon is, they don't really get on very well, but Moon is not enemy to any planet, so it's kind of neutral. And but by the sheer fact that Saturn is 3 houses away, it becomes friends. Mars is sitting, obviously we said 0 to 10 degrees of Aries is Multiple sign for Mars, so Mars is very happy there. God, that's a very difficult house, isn't it? Aries for her 12th house. She probably didn't have very good sleep or anything, bless her. And then we have Mercury. Mercury is sitting in an enemy sign. Obviously, it doesn't get on with Moon. And Moon is 8 houses or 6 houses away, so far away. So because they don't have a temporary friendship with each other, it therefore becomes great enemy for this chart. Jupiter is sitting in Venus's sign. It's an enemy sign, but by the sheer fact that Venus is only 3 houses away, so it becomes neutral to each other. And we said Venus already, and Rahu and Ketu. Rahu is sitting in sort of like in a neutral house, as is Ketu really. So Ketu's friends with Venus, but you know, it's like a neutral house for it. So I think actually it's a bit difficult to do them. So the nodes. So this is it. This is how you see like temporary relationship between planets. Okay. So the other thing that we wanted to talk about as well is that in the chart it's very important not just to think that, you know, any situation and you know, you always want to check the condition of the planet by checking all those things again, you know, in the D9. So you can see like Ginger Rogers, her Mars looks very strong there in Aries, but actually in the Navamsha it goes to Gemini, to an enemy sign, so it's not very strong. And Moon in her chart, look, it looks in Aquarius, it looks quite weak, but actually in the D9 is exalted in Taurus, so that's quite strong. Sun is vargottamam, so it's in the same situation, so it makes a really, really strong sun. It's in a friendly sign as well, so it's really good. Venus is also vargottamam as well, so Venus is in the same place in Leo in both charts. Rahu has gone to Rahu has moved to and is sitting with Venus. They're friendly with each other, so it's pretty good. And look at Saturn. Saturn was actually, you look at that Saturn and you think, oh, it's really debilitated. But actually it's not debilitated. It is sitting in an enemy sign in Scorpio, but it's sitting with Mercury and they're friendly so with each other, so they actually help one another there. But Mercury is not really in good condition in that sign. But look at that. She has an exchange between Mercury and Mars there. It's not great, but it kind of doesn't make the planets that weak. Let's have a look at Catherine Zeta-Jones' D9 and see what's going on with her chart. So you can see that her Saturn, which was debilitated in Aries, in her Navamsha is actually in Leo, which is still not good because obviously arch enemies, Saturn and the Sun. Sun was actually in Virgo before and it's gone into Pisces. It works pretty well in Pisces because it's friendly with Jupiter. And Mars is in a friendly sign in Sagittarius, but it's gone all the way to an enemy sign there. It's gone into Gemini, and Gemini, look at that. She's got, oh my goodness, 5 planets, Rahu, Mercury, Venus, Mars and Jupiter, all of them in her 3rd house, which is great for her profession. And so she's obviously very capable, has got many, many skills, but it really kills that house, really. 5 planets there is very difficult. And so that's Catherine Zeta-Jones. Let's have a look at Diane Keaton's D9 as well, and we can see that Diane Keaton has her Saturn is vargottamam, in both of them is in Gemini. Mars was debilitated in her D1, but it's actually in Leo in a friend sign, which is really nice. Venus, which was actually with the Sun there, ends up in Leo in her D9, so it has got that kind of difficulty with egotistical sort of like partners there. And then Jupiter is vargottamam, still in Libra. Sun, which was actually sitting in Sagittarius, has gone into Libra and is debilitated in her D9 chart, so she's not as confident as we think. And Mercury, which was actually in Sagittarius, has gone into another enemy sign, which is Aries there. But look at her moon. Her moon is traveled and is in the ascendant there in Taurus with K2. K2 is obviously not in good condition there. It's debilitated in the D9, but what fantastic, you know, that's probably where her fame comes from, because K2 there makes people feel as though they know and trust her, and she has that kind of look about her. Anyway, guys, that's it, and I shall look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you very much.